Hi, this is Mrs. Shope. Today we're going to learn how to solve quadratic equations by taking the square root. So you need your calculator out, you need your pencil, you need your notebook. Title your notes 9-3. If you need a minute to get this together, go ahead and pause the video, hit play when you're ready. All right, put a number 1 on your paper. Number 1 says x squared minus 16 equals 0. All right, so what we're going to do to solve by using square roots is we're going to get the x to the second by itself on one side. So to do that, we're going to add 16 to both sides, plus 16 plus 16, and then we'll get x squared equals 16. Then all we have to do is take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 16 is actually going to be a positive and a negative 4. Because if you take positive 4 times positive 4, you get 16. And negative 4 times negative 4 gives you 16. So you have two solutions, positive and negative 4. All right, write number 2 on your paper. 4x squared minus 36 equals 0. All right, your first job is to get x to the second by itself on one side. So we're going to add 36 to both sides. And then we'll have 4x squared equals 36. Well, we have a 4x squared. We just want x squared. So next we're going to divide both sides by 4. And we'll have x squared equals 9. So then we take the square root of both sides. And our solution would be positive and negative 3. All right, take a look at number 3. In your notes, write x squared minus 14 equals negative 50. All right, first we're going to get x squared by itself on one side by adding 14. Then we'll get x squared equals negative 36. Once you have x squared by itself, you're going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of negative 36. Is there a number times itself to give you negative 36? No, because a positive times a positive would give me a positive. A negative times a negative would give me a positive. So this is no real solutions. There are no real solutions. All right, let's look at number 4. In your notes, write 2 into the second minus 32 equals negative 32. Okay, our first step is to get into the second by itself. So we're going to add 32. Then we'll get 2 into the second equals 0. We have a 2 into the second, so now we need to divide by 2 to get into the second by itself. We'll have into the second equals 0. Once we get there, we take the square root of both sides. What's the square root of 0? 0, right? So there's one solution. It's n equals 0. All right, look at number 5. In your notes, write 1/4 x squared plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so we need to get x to the second by itself, so let's take away 3. And then we'll have 1/4 x squared equals negative 3. Then we need to get rid of the 1/4 by multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 4, to get x squared equals negative 12. Once we get x squared by itself on one side, we take the square root. The square root of negative 12. No such answer. So this is no real solutions. No real solutions. All right. Look at number 6. It's a little different. Write x minus 1 to the second equals 25. Okay. Notice that x minus 1 to the second is squared. So we could take the square root of it. So we do not need to use FOIL to find out what x minus 1 to the second is. We're just going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x minus 1 to the second is x minus 1. The square root of 25 is going to be a positive 5 and a negative 5. So we have x minus 1 equals 5 and x minus 1 equals negative 5. And then what we do is solve each equation for x by adding 1. One solution is x equals 6. Here, if I add 1, my other solution is x equals negative 4. So x would equal 6 or negative 4. All right, look at number 7. 4 times x minus 3 to the second equals 9. Now, you can do this two different ways. You could divide both sides by 4, or you could leave the 4 there because you can take the square root of 4. Okay, so what if you just divided both sides by 4? And you had x minus 3 to the second, and I'm just going to leave this 9/4. Then you have a perfect square on the left side, and you can take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x minus 3 to the second would be x minus 3. The square root of 9/4 would be a positive 3/2, because the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 4 is 2. Or it would be a negative 3/2, which you could put negative 1.5 or negative 1.5 there. Then you're just adding 3 to both sides to solve. So 3/2 is 1.5 or 1.5. 1.5 plus 3 would give me a 4.5 or 4.5. On the other equation, if I add 3, I'll have a negative 1.5 plus 3, which would be a positive 1.5 or 1.5. All right. Now, sometimes when you take the square root, it doesn't turn out to be a perfect square number, and you get a decimal. All right, so we're going to round on these. So we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, but we're going to solve them the same way. So what we're going to do is, on number 8, write down x squared plus 8 equals 19. We're going to do them the same way. We're going to get x to the second by itself on one side. Okay, first step, subtract 8, so we get x squared equals 11. Now I have x squared by itself on one side. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So I'm taking the square root of 11. Square root 11, let me see, if I use my calculator, is going to be a non-terminating decimal. That means it's not going to end. It looks like 3.3166. Okay, so if we're rounding to the hundredths, one answer would be a 3.32 because the next number is a 6. The answer would be a negative 3.32. All right, look at number 9. Okay, 5x squared minus 2 equals 0. So we're going to solve for x to the second by adding 2. So first add 2 to both sides. Okay, you'll get 5x to the second equals 2. Then we divide both sides by 5. So we would get x to the second equals 2/5. If we want to take 2 and divide by 5, that would be a 0.4. And then we take the square root of both sides. So the square root with my calculator of 0.4 would give me a 0.632. So when I take the square root of 0.4, let me just check it again. It is a 0.632455. So x would be a positive 0.63 and a negative 0.63. All right, let's do one more. Look at number 10. All right, on number 10, what I want you to do is go ahead and solve it for x to the second to see what you get. Okay, so let's check your work. See if you added 30 to both sides to get 3x to the second equals 34. Then you divide it by 3. Did you get x to the second equals 34 over 3? Or it's actually 11 1/3. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take the square root of both sides. So using your calculator, you're going to take the square root of 11 1/3 or 34 over 3. Okay, so let me double check my work on my calculator. You should be doing the same. Okay, looks like we're getting a 3.366 and then some more numbers. So if I round to the hundredths, that would be a 3.37. We would go up because the next number is a 6. So our solutions should be positive and negative 3.37. All right, so how are you feeling today about solving quadratic equations using square roots? All right, I need you to go to Big Ideas and do the 9-3 assignment. If you get done early, make sure you finished Evaluate for April, and look in Skyward and Big Ideas for any missing assignments. Have a good day.